Rev up your engines. All right, people who like Mustangs, you can get a good deal on a used one, but should you buy a used one? No, this guy did, and he got the V6. And as far as I'm concerned, that's usually a smart move because the guys who buy the V8s generally beat the heck out of them. Now, this is 2010. The V6 puts out 215 horsepower. At the time, the V8 put out 315 horsepower. Well, today the Mustang is the only car that Ford makes. That's it, baby. Everything else is an SUV or a truck. It's the only car they got left. And the only choice you got is you get that turbocharged 4-cylinder or the V8 engine. And the turbocharged 4-cylinder engine puts out 315 horsepower, which, interestingly enough, is what the V8 put out in this thing in 2010. And you can get anywhere from 500 to 800 on the V8 one in 2025. But these days, I tell people, if you're gonna get a Mustang, you gotta get the V8. The 4-cylinder engine, I've seen them blow up at 65,000 miles. They're not that great, especially when they're hooked up to an automatic transmission. That 10-speed automatic transmission is more or less made for big V8s. You can get in the V8, but in the 4s, they just don't work right, and 90% of Americans only drive automatic transmissions. This particular one's an automatic transmission. You really don't have the choice anymore. Back in the day, you could get a V6. You could get a 4 plain old one a long time ago. This thing's starting to look better and better if you're looking for a nice Mustang. A V6. Look under the hood, and it still holds itself up. You can see, of course, there's phenomenal working room because a lot of these were V8s that fit in. You put a 6-cylinder engine in the same car, you got a lot of working room. You can see, even though it's 2010, still got a lot of original parts on it. They're pretty well-made vehicles. This thing doesn't burn oil, doesn't overheat, and it's got 171,000 miles. He's put like 60-something thousand miles on the car since he bought it, so he's definitely getting his money's worth out of the thing. He had a custom dual exhaust put on, so it sounds a lot better than the stock one. A stock V6 Mustang with the regular muffler on it, it's too quiet. It sounds wimpy. It sounds a lot better than the stock one does. Now, as we look inside, the last car that Ford never makes, since they don't make cars anymore, you can see a few stains here and there, but the seats have held up pretty good, and it's got the classic Mustang dash. It's got a lot of warnings, so we're going to check all that stuff. So you can turn it off if you want. Aftermarket screen. There's a lot of aftermarket stuff. You can play with these Mustangs. There's so many people modifying these things. There's a lot of stuff available, and I like it because, look, it's an old car. Real emergency brake. None of that electronic crap. Got 171,000 miles on it. We can see the dash is lighting up like a Christmas tree, so let's get the old scan tool out. Here we go with the magic box. Diagnostics. Let it think a little. It already detected the vehicle. Oh, we got a Mustang V6 single overhead cam 4-liter automatic gasoline. Here we go. We'll do a full scan while it's doing the scan. We'll just kind of look around. Dash is still in really good shape. Seats have a few stains in them, but hey, they're not ripped or torn or anything. Final door card's still in excellent shape. Ready? Well, not bad for a 15-year-old Mustang. It's got 3 trouble codes. So, the anti-lock brake system, the left front circuit has a failure, and the battery voltage is too low. Well, that comes from weak batteries. That's not something we worry about. But the left front circuit has a failure. And let's face the facts, this thing's 15 years old, 2010. Ford's stability control systems aren't that great. They don't do all that much anyway. It's not that high level of a system. And if you start messing around with this, what if it needs a module assembly that's going to cost $1,000-something bucks? He doesn't notice any drivability problems. And the other code, as you can see, is there's a fault in a tire pressure sensor, which, hey, each tire has a sensor inside of valve stem with a battery in it. Guess what? 15 years later, the batteries go bad. You get that? Hey, pressure gauge costs you $5-10 bucks. You can use that. The only thing is, you always have these stupid lights coming on because of it. So, hey, you want to get out some tape and tape over them with black tape? Hey, since it's got that ABS problem, what the heck, we might as well look at the thing. Problem in the left front, so let's go up there. There we go. Okay, we'll enable it. It will not enable. Since it won't enable it, we know that, yes, indeed, the system's broken there, and that's an extremely expensive repair. You'd probably be starting at about $685, $700 to replace it, reprogram it, and then, hey, this car's 15 years old. Who's to say other parts aren't broken? Because once they find a problem, these computer systems stop analyzing. And I've been working on these things a long time. And if somebody will say, oh, Scotty, I want that fixed, I'll say, well, that's broken, so let's fix that. So you replace that, spend $700. Then you find all of a sudden, boop, now there's new things popping up that are wrong with the system because now it can analyze further and it sees there's problems everywhere in the system. So you're getting into a rat's nest. It doesn't have anti-lock brakes now. That's all that it comes down to. So you drive it like a normal car. None of my cars have anti-lock brakes because I'm too cheap and they're old. Any owner just agreed. He says, no, I'm not going to mess with that. Look at the live data here. We'll go to the PCM. And here we go. Remember, black's good, red is bad. Everything's black so far. Put it in drive. We'll get a little better data if it's in drive. And as you can see, the airflow trim, hey, it's not bad at all. It's subtracting 0.088 100ths, and then the other one, it's 0.2 100ths, so it's still running pretty good for a vehicle with 170,000 miles on it. Like I said, the combination of it has less power, and the people who buy them aren't all lunatics. And if you buy a used one, you can often get one like this. It's still in pretty good shape, even though it's got 170,000 miles. Now, he bought it with like 110, but he's put that on. He hasn't had any real problems. The EVAP pollution control stuff, which you don't care about here in Tennessee. They don't do any of that emissions testing, so we don't care about that. Gives you the fuel rail pressure. Now, realize, the one advantage of these is this. It's a 2010. It's still a pretty simple system. The modern ones, they have both port fuel injectors and GDI, gasoline direct injection. It's a very complex system. This is a much simpler system. Now, he doesn't know what his gas mileage is. He says it's good enough. The V8s, you know it's going to be bad. You drive the V8s hard. I've driven them. I've gotten 6-7 miles a gallon driving them hard. But this thing gets 24 miles a gallon on a highway. It gets about 17 in town if you drive it hard. That's not bad for a simple engine and a simple transmission. None of this modern technology. And of course, for the money you say buying a used one, you can buy an awful lot of gasoline. Still runs fine. Engine doesn't burn oil. Transmission data's good. EGR system's working. No fault in any of them. No fault in any of the injectors. So one thing about this Ford software, it's pretty good. Because if you have an injector problem, you're going to see it'll tell you which injector even has the fault. In this case, it doesn't have any. 15 years old, but you can see there is an awful lot of data, and so far it's all good. No misfires. So let's take it for a spin. Oh, here we go, backing up. Old car, no backup camera, but we don't care. We have eyes. You're safer that way. You can look up the hill. The backup camera isn't going to see what's coming down the hill. Now you can see 171,000 miles. Look, idles like a dream. Doesn't shake. Sure, those lights might drive you crazy, but you can always get some black tape and cover them up. And I like the exhaust. Makes a nice sound. You can pretend it's a V8. Brakes work fine. It handles fine. We'll take it to our little drag strip. Yeah, it's got a nice sounding engine, nice transmission. So, is anybody coming? We'll turn the headlights on since it's raining. Nobody's coming. Here we go. It's still got a good sound. Doesn't have that rumbling of the V8, of course, but it's still got a good sound. Now, since it does not have ABS anymore, we're not going to go crazy. We'll just hit it here. Nice sound. Nice acceleration. Not a V8, of course. Back in the day, when this had 215, V8 had 315. Now the V8s have 500 to 800, and the 4s have 315. But look, you want to pass somebody who's going 40, you step on the gas. Look, it passes people. There's no problem with that. Look, all the wheels, stable as can be. The front end's in good shape. It did have some work done on ball joints and stuff, but I mean, that stuff wears out when you get this old. As I shut up and listen, I don't hear any worn wheel bearings or any transmission bearings. They're all fine. And of course, if you don't like the droning noise, you guys just leave the exhaust stock. 15-year-old Mustang, the last car that Ford makes, the only car that they make now, 170,000 miles. Still runs perfectly fine. ABS system doesn't work anymore, but the brakes work perfectly fine if you know how to drive. You're thinking about buying one? My advice is think about something like this if you're not a drag strip maniac. They last longer because people don't beat them up. And of course, the transmission transmissions last longer too, because if you have less torque spinning your transmission, it's not going to brake as fast. The V8, they can burn those trannies out really quick. And let's face the facts, 90% of Americans drive automatic transmissions, and when that tranny breaks, it's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Better to have one that's going to break a lot later down the line than one that's got a lot more power, but it's going to break a lot sooner. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.